Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Document Everything. A while back, I worked as a contractor in a government office. I've got multiple engineering degrees and decades of experience with remotely operated vehicles, so I was often the go-to guy when it came to navigating complex technical matters. Like most government offices, turnover was high, and the contractors were the only real continuity. We weren't staff, we were the serfs to their royalty, and most staffers knew they were way out of the depth, so they'd lean heavily on us contractors for advice. It worked out fine. The pay was great, the work was solid, until she showed up. This woman shows up to run the department that manages our outside contractors, people I work with directly. Normally I'd help smooth things over, speak the same language as these outside teams, and make sure everyone was on the same page. I'd been doing this for years, but this new department head, she walks in on day one and decides that I'm conspiring behind her back. No evidence, no interaction, no conversation, just instant suspicion and hostility. Luckily, I didn't report to her. I reported to my actual boss, who happened to be a former Navy guy. Total badass, great guy, no nonsense. He pulls me aside and says, "She's going to be a problem. Document everything." So I did. I kept a private OneNote log. Every time she ignored my questions in meetings, every time she refused to acknowledge my presence, every passive-aggressive comment, meeting snub and weird behavior, documented, all of it. She wouldn't even look at me in meetings. We'd hit dead silences because she refused to respond to anything I said. I wasn't the only one either. In a few short months, she'd run off 5 other guys, contractors and staffers alike. I was next on her hit list. Meanwhile, our office got a new director. He was one of those academic types, PhD in something soft, and totally out of his depth in a Navy-heavy office. He was more into making the workplace kinder and gentler, which didn't exactly land with ex-military personnel. Still, he was now in charge, and he was watching. One day, my boss walks into my office after another lovely interaction with her and says, "Man, I wish I had some documentation on all this." I just smiled, spun my monitor around and hit print. Out came a 20-page dossier. Every date, every event, every ignored question. Every time I used the word harassment. His eyes lit up. "Come with me." We marched down to the director's office. My boss hands him the file. He reads through it in silence. Eventually he says, "I think the word harassment might be a little strong here." So I asked, "If a contractor treated a staffer like this, what would you call it?" He didn't answer. 1 week later, the woman was reassigned to a different department. No fanfare, no announcement, just quietly gone. The next story is called Don't Bother. Back in high school, I worked part-time at a smoothie shop. The job? Chill. The manager? Not. This guy was in his 30s and acted like we were working for NASA, not slinging protein powder and frozen fruit. He had a clipboard, a stopwatch, and probably a superior complex the size of a commercial blender. One morning I was 3 minutes late. 3. I apologized, clocked in and got to work like usual. But oh no, he had to make it a thing. He pulled me aside, lowered his voice like we were in a courtroom and hit me with, "If you are late again, even 1 minute, don't bother showing up." Dramatic, but sure, noted. 1 week later, I'm driving to work, hit some traffic, pull into the parking lot. I check the clock, 2 minutes late, and then I remember what he said, so I don't go in. I shut off the car, pulled out my phone and texted, "Per your request, I'm not showing up today. I'm 2 minutes late." Then I went home and made myself a smoothie, because I could. Cue the flood of calls, voicemails and texts. "Where are you? You can still come in. Don't do this." I ignored it all. I was just following orders. Next shift, he tried to guilt trip me. He really left us hanging. That wasn't cool. I looked him dead in the eye. I thought you were serious. You made it very clear. He didn't have a response, just nodded awkwardly and walked away. He never said that line again. The third story is called Physics. Years ago I worked in engineering and fabrication, where logic and physics usually win the day. Unless of course you're dealing with a micromanaging CEO who thinks being a salesman makes him an engineer too. This guy lived by the motto, the customer is always right, even when the customer has no clue what they are talking about. We had a client who needed a custom sheet metal rack to hold several heavy bottles. They sketched up a V-shaped cradle to hold the bottles snugly. The problem? Physics. That V-shape made of thin sheet metal would absolutely deform under the weight of those bottles. All the force would concentrate right in the middle and it would start to buckle. So I proposed a better solution. An L-shaped cradle. Not as pretty maybe, but far more stable. I explained the mechanics to the customer and they agreed. L-shape it is. But then my CEO swoops in, sweating the idea of deviating from the customer's original sketch. No, we are going with the V shape. The customer asks for a V. They get a V. I don't want to explain why we changed it. I tried reasoning with him. The L shape is more structurally sound. The customer already agreed to it. The V will definitely fail. Didn't matter. Follow the original request exactly. Cool. I built the V-shaped rack to the customer's exact specifications. Installed it. Placed the heavy bottles on it. And then I waited. Within 24 hours the metal started buckling. The V warped. It looked like a sad metal taco wilting under pressure. The customer called. Yeah, maybe your engineer had the right idea. A couple months ago, I booked a B&B in Dublin for St. Patrick's weekend. 115 euros for our room. A bit old, but who cares? Was a steal. Just one double bed for me and a buddy. It was pay on arrival. Fast forward to 3 weeks before the trip. I get a message from the B&B manager on the booking app. There's been a problem. You need to cancel your reservation immediately. No explanation, no apology. Just cancel it from your side. Then came the calls. Every single day. And texts like, cancel now to get your money back. Again, it was pay on arrival, so there was no money to return. Something felt off, so I checked the listing. Wouldn't you know it? The same room was back up, now listed at double the price. Guess the manager realized they could make more on our last minute booking during Ireland's busiest weekend. That's when I decided, you want me to cancel it from my side? Cool, I'll do that, just not the way you wanted. I called booking.com and said, I'd like to cancel my booking. They asked why, and I calmly explained everything. The rep immediately flagged it as unfair behavior and told me, we'll find you new accommodation within 1 kilometer of your original stay, and the original property will cover the difference. Trying to find a room in central Dublin 3 weeks before St. Patrick's Day? That's like trying to find Wi-Fi in the middle of the Atlantic. The only option left within 1 kilometer was a 4-star hotel, 350 euros per night, 2 double beds, way bigger room, much nicer area. The rep put me on hold to check with our team lead. I just tidied up around the house for 25 minutes while they sorted it out. Finally, they said, all approved. You'll get a link to book it now. I accepted immediately. I paid the 350 up front, sent in the receipts afterward, and got 255 euros refunded a week later. Meaning the original property manager had to cover the difference, because they tried to strong-arm me into cancelling on my end. Instead of raking in more cash from a desperate last-minute tourist, they ended up losing money and a customer. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.